Hello, everyone. Now, I would like to welcome Mr. Vishwanath Jha, founder CEO of Sathi.ai, for a keynote address on collections, a nightmare for BNPL companies. In fact, I would like to say a little more about Mr. Vishwanath Jha. He is a dreamer who believed in the world of voice AI powered omni channel multilingual interactions. Vishwanath's career has spanned over a decade in the roles of tech consultant, data scientist, applied AI researcher, an instructor, futuristic thought leader, and a deep tech entrepreneur. He founded Sathi.ai in 2017. He has been actively building the narrative for constructive government and academic policies to nurture voice and language technology in India through academic, enterprise, and government forums like FICCI, METI, NASCOM, and others. So, welcome, Mr. Vishwanath Jha. Over to you. I think you need to unmute yourself.
Sorry, thank you. So first of all, thank you for having me here, everyone. Great show. I think I would like to share a few things about few aspects of learning that we had this year related to BNPL, and I thought probably I'll share with the larger audience. So let me just share my screen. Can you please confirm if my screen is visible, Nishant?
Yes, it is. It is visible. Very much clear,
Fantastic.
loud and clear.
Fantastic. So, as part of the agenda of next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll talk about like some of the few burning priorities for BNPL company, how the industry is booming, and with that growth, how the challenges are coming up. What is the current challenges with the strategy? What are the most the important barriers which needs to be looked upon, and then what exactly the business should expect from AI and what AI can do to help these BNPL companies or lending new lending platforms in terms of collection. And we have some solution which we have been working with a lot of NBFCs and banks, which has been proven very useful. So probably a small clip of that, and then a small case study will actually I'll try to end up with. So if we have to talk about the burning priorities, so there are two major sort of priorities. One is increasing the speed of loan approvals and the lending AUM of the companies. At the same time, while we are increasing the loan approval rates and the AUM of the NBFC companies, we also need to keep in mind that the delinquency rates and the cost of collection must not go up. Rather, it should go further down to make business more profitable and more useful. So what I see is today, like the booming growth of the industry, the party has just begun, because India's BNPL market is estimated to be $45 to $50 billion by 2026, and the highest growing payment method, it is going to be the highest growing payment method from 3% share in 2020 to 9% in next 3 years from now. The number of BNPL users is about to reach between 80 to 100 million by 2026. And the best part of BNPL has been, like in this pandemic, it has offered a higher purchasing power to the public, and which has further led to the larger adoption in the transaction. Basically, there has been a 45x growth in the BNPL transaction in last 2 years alone. And however, to end this entire growth story, there is one more very key important aspect, is that 93% of India has no access to credit even today. That means there is a plenty of room for growth, and that's why I say that the party has just begun. However, with growing market, obviously, I mean, we all want to look upon the positive side of it. However, there are also challenges which are associated with this rapid growth. One of them, when you start with, is like the smaller loan ticket sizes. Like if the loan ticket sizes are very small, repetitive calling becomes unsustainable, and like in terms of cost wise. Second part is like if you have a shorter repayment cycle, like then you have very small leeway to save yourself from delinquency. Very quick, in a very quick time, the portfolio can be delinquent. Based on the user behavior. Another aspect is that like in BNPL or the fintech companies, new lending platforms, or whenever we are doing unsecured lending. So we are lending to the riskier customer segments, and this is in absence of alternative data, and it's risky. Already 40% of the fintech portfolio is all in 90 plus DPD bucket, and with the way the BNPL companies are growing, the industry is growing, the collection operations also need to be scaled appropriately along the lines. However, blitzscaling the collection operations is a very Herculean task because of the obvious nature of the work. That's why the business process outsourcing companies exist in the market. So and then amongst all of these things is like one major flaw, or I should say maybe a lack, is that we don't have personalized collection strategies for empathetic debt management. We have like one shoe fits all. We do calling based on buckets, and we don't take into account the user behavior when we are talking to the customer. There may be some genuine reasons why the customer might not be able to pay, and XYZ reasons. But the way currently the collection operations are being run, I think this is very a lot of times it has actually led to the lot of customer attrition, because the customer gets really annoyed because of this impersonalized collection strategy. So currently the standard operating procedure has been you can break down the collection process into like four major segment. One is like a standard, where before pre due date you just send out some notifications. It could be via email, app, or WhatsApp, SMS, etc., right? And then once the pre due date has crossed, then comes the soft collection bucket from 1 to 30 DPD, and further they have subsections in this bucket. However, the collection operation is being run through agent calling. I mean, we send out a lot of payment reminders, call people, customers, basically to educate them on the impacts of delinquency, late fee accrual, and all that stuff, basically. However, if the customer is not paying up after 30 DPD, then comes the hard collection part, where we currently do a lot of high intensity calling, and we share dunning notices, and we try to convince customer that this is not right, and ethical to not pay money, and so the aspect of it. And then even after 89 DPD, if the customer has not paid, then the field collection kicks in, where the field agent basically is allowed to visit the home or office of the customer, and then there could be like a strict tone in the messaging of the maybe dunning notices, or the calls, or like that, right? However, challenges with human-led business process is that qualified multilingual collection agents are expensive and rare to find. Contact centers have high attrition. Hiring, training, monitoring collection agents is operational headache, as I mentioned earlier. And also, I mean, you can't find agents on demand, pre-trained for collection process for our enterprise. I mean, there is at least some sort of a lead time before a agent can actually come in and step in and take part in the operation. However, this problem can also be solved. And then one of the major aspects that we have come across from all the, not just BNPL companies or fintech companies, large banks also, the 100% monitoring of agent performance and call quality is impossible due to the humongous scale of calls that is happening today already. So like most of the time, the customers, the agencies, or the contact center agencies, or the companies, NBFC companies, what they do is they take up a sample calls per agent, and based on that they extrapolate the behavior of agent. So businesses are continuously at risk. So how do you monitor that part? That is also a thing. And if you are making, let's say, for a 10,000 rupees or a 5,000 rupees loan, a thousand rupees EMI is there, and in that 1,000 rupee, if you have to call 10 times, so the capital sum will start shrinking. So it becomes very unsustainable for the business to keep on calling. However, with these challenges in mind, what should the enterprises expect from AI? I mean, how to set the right expectation? I mean, largely we have come across, the AI, whenever AI should come in, there should be existing human process which AI is coming and making, maybe like cost effectively, scaling it. The robustness and the reliability of the solution becomes faster. It becomes much more efficient than human processes. And the last of all is, AI should be easy to use and handle. That's what, like you can potentially, if you have to, narrow down the few major expectations from AI. I think these are the five major expectations. So with these expectation and the understanding from the market, we developed Maya last year, and this entire year we have been working on with multiple banks and BFCs, small finance banks, insurance companies, and where we worked with them and tried to automate their collection process, and not just collection process, basically automation. However, we also provide the analytics on top of it, in terms of the user behavior, how likely the customer is going to be delinquent if he or she falls in a particular bucket and has some sort of a particular behavior on the call. So this is something that we have been able to do. Maya is cost effective, scalable, reliable, multilingual, efficient, and available on demand. So all the major flaws that we have in human-led processes can be, to a certain extent, solved through introducing AI or Maya in the collection process. It is available in 15 major languages. It has recovered up to 86% of credit within just 14 past due date, and it has brought down the cost of collection down to 1.5% of overall amount. And if you talk about the dialogue experience, it is powered by, one of the most cutting edge multilingual conversational AI that you can see in the industry. Since this is a collection, this is a interaction between a AI agent and customers, that is human computer interaction happening here. So all the interactions are kindly, it is actually digital in nature, digital interaction. So it is very easy to, once the interactions are digital, you can analyze, be it text, be it audio, speech. This can be done. This can be done because there are essential tools which have matured over the last couple of decades, and now a lot of applications we are building on top of that. So also this Maya is able to send out the dunning notices whenever the customer comes to a particular bucket. So it's all programmed basically, and the thing with Maya is like, it's an AI thing, so it can scale with buttons. You click number of channels, and you instead of one bot, you now have like 100 bots, like we have that movie from Rajnikant, robots. So this is really a thing, except that this is a abstract bot, which is a software, not a physical humanoid robot. And the beauty with Maya is that it is pre-trained for full credit cycle. That is before due date has come to DPD plus 90 dates basically. Also, the messages and tones, basically what I would like to take a minute and emphasize on it, because let's say, give you an example of a customer, let's say, who has been a very good customer for a bank, and this guy has paid all the loans on time, and in his 12th month of association with the bank, he somehow met with an unfortunate accident. Now he's in the hospital. But now also, when the collection agents call the patient or the customer in this case, what happens is they follow the same routine. They follow the same kind of, they kind of annoy the customer, and which leads to a very bad customer experience. It lacks empathy in the customer experience, which leads to the customer attrition. So the entire cost of acquisition of the customer is now flushed down the drain, right? So it's one of the major region where the industry should focus on finding personalized collection strategy for better debt management basically. Another aspect is like we have added voice biometrics with some of our premium customers, where we wanted to ascertain the right party contact, because a lot of customers, when we called for collection, they said, okay, no, I'm not the guy, I'm his son or daughter, or like somebody, I'm his friend, like that, or somebody died, like that. So if we have the voice biometric, so we can establish that whether the person who is speaking on the phone is the same customer or somebody else. So at least we'll be able to generate that insight and give it to the customer, to the enterprise, that this many out of 100 people, if we have tried to connect, let's say like 90% people we have been able to establish the right party contact. And in 10% people, we can give some dispositions that this is the wrong number, or maybe the person has died, or XYZ, whatever the reasons people generally say. With collection, with Maya, if your collection strategy is powered, then the first three the section, the standard, soft collection, and hard collection. So pre-due date to 90 DPD, we take care of it entirely, and like constantly the situation is improving. The more and more interactions we are having with the customers, the more and more behavior data that we are able to assess and analyze, we are able to make personalized pitches to the customer's rebuttal for not making the payment. And we have been like 21% efficient than human agents in certain cases. So let me just play one quick call, which might just give you a good understanding of what the solution is, and like how it has been able to add value.
I am calling from. You have $1,500 amount outstanding since 25th September. When can you make the payment for this due amount?
I can't make the payment.
Can you at least make a partial payment of $1,000 to avoid penalty and interest?
Okay, I'll do that.
I'm sending you a payment link on SMS amounting to $1,000. Please make the payment by clicking on the link. Thank you for your valuable time and cooperation. Have a nice day.
So this is a very this is for this is US accent English. We have, as I said, in 10 Indian languages. So I think the for more to experience more the more of such Maya experience in Indian languages, I would recommend you guys to interested folks to basically visit our booth, and probably you can get more insight on that, because this is just one of the this was just one of the flows. This is like very diverse, very ever expanding thing. Now, let me just come to a brief case study that we recently came up with. I think this just like 2 days ago, we came up with this case study with one of the publicly listed housing finance company. So in terms of the number of days that it took AI agent to recover the same amount of debt when compared to human agent, you can see the graph here, how efficient we have been. At the same time, we have been able to recover like roughly 80% of the total amount that was allocated to us, $300,000 to collect, and we did it like within just 14 days. The cost that we brought down, like we reduced the cost to 83.4% compared to human agents. So it's like a straight up, if not 85, 90, it is at least 80%. It is guaranteed that your cost will go down if you use Maya. And the objective here is not to change the user behavior, just to keep it make it a point that our objective is not to change the customer behavior to a extent, like where they don't want to pay. Even if human agents will call, they won't pay, right? However, all those good customers who need little bit of assistant or a nudge to like convince them, and like make them like aware if they what is the impact if they don't make timely payments. So those bucket of customers definitely can be, like the collection process can be simplified and automated with that bucket. And with that thing in focus, we have been able to work on this and reach this important numbers. So if you see that we were able to connect like 100% of all the customers who were allocated to us for collection. And the important part is it took us like minimum, if you talk about just attempts, how many times we called the customer and the customer picked up. So 66% of the total amount was collected by just fifth attempt only. I mean, it went up to like 15, 16, 17, 20 attempts in certain cases, right? Because they have to be like perseverant calling for the customer if the customer is not paying. And it's not giving clear idea why he or she is not paying or when he or she will pay. So in that case, we keep on calling and trying to understand and convince the customer. So this is one of the very good numbers that we found, and thought that would be relevant for the larger audience here. So that's all I have for this right now. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. I'm ready for the questions right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishwanath, for great inputs on how technology can help the lending firms in taking care of their receivables or collections. Now, we have two questions for you from the audience. The first one would be: you spoke about human-led businesses and associated challenges. So, what help can your solution offer, and will it be able to secure the trust part?
So I think, see, the direction where we're moving towards is like we are trying to like get to a point where any NBFC company, any bank, any BNPL company, fintech, or wherever there's finance or credit business. So if they want to like maybe adopt technology for cost efficient method for collections, so we come into play, and what we do is we remove the operational headaches of like, you give me data, then I'll make it, train it, then I'll do it, we'll take a charge, development cost. No, nothing like that. It's just that everything is pre-trained, you don't need to pay anything else, you just pay per minute. So number of minutes Maya spoke on your behalf, you pay for that minute only. And everything is like your constant upgradation of the solution. So one important thing to understand here is that this is not normal software solution which is which you can buy off the shelf and start using it. It is a AI software. So more data flows into the system, the more diverse and more enriched the reasoning and the rationale of the system becomes, right? So with this, the more data we are able to, like right now we are already calling for roughly 30 enterprises in Indian ecosystem just for BFSI, across verticals inside BFSI segment basically. So we have a larger understanding of the demography. For example, rural users, urban users, like a high, like blue collared users, white collared users, male, female, age group, diversity. So we already are observing the user's behavior, and we know if there's a person who is falling in a 14 to 30 DPD bucket, and within just 2 seconds of ringing the call, if he has cut the call, that means he's not going to make the payment, no matter how many times you call. So that means there's a flag, that signal that we generate, and like the human processes can kick in, and for more further like enhanced conversation for timely payments. So there are a lot of things that we have learned from the interaction. So it's not that we have coded our biases into the software. It's a data driven learning. Whatever data is being generated through the digital interactions between the agent and the customer, it's all constantly analyzed, and then like we make the like based on the patterns, basically we make the personalized pitches, and it's all in real time. So like you don't have to wait for, let's say, like 15 days, 10 days, 7 days. No, if you are ready, if you want to make a call right now, within like 24 hours you can start calling, and our objective is to bring it down to 30 minutes. So by March we want to bring it down to 30 minutes, so that any NBFC who wants to start collection operation, they just need to come to a platform, pay from their credit cards, and start using in 30 minutes. Okay. And we are personalizing it for, let's say, because the collection strategy, the calling strategy for a housing finance company will be very different from a consumer finance company versus a two-wheeler finance company or a gold finance company, right? So the way you talk to the customer, the way you try to convince the customer based on the ticket sizes, the loan size is larger, whether it is secured or unsecured lending, is it a credit card thing? So there's a lot of diversity. I'm saying there's a lot to do in this just problem alone. So we are focusing on just collection, and I think this is a very good problem, global problem to solve, I think. So that's the way I think for enterprises to build trust. I think one thing that I would like to tell them that we are just doing collections. We are not into the business of voice bots. Okay, so we make collection AI agents.
Get it. And also, there is one more question that you see this. You see a lot of startups are coming up. Are these AI led solutions cost effective?
Yeah, I mean, at least in my case, what I observed. I mean, for example, uh, I'll give you a case, just a small a number basically. For in order to like collect 2 crores 78 lakhs of amount, we spent 1 lakh 35,000. Even if you keep just like cost to company per agent as 25,000 standard, then also it's just like 5 agents. Earlier, if you talk about if it were a human agent, you imagine, I mean, like how many calls you can do with just 5 agents, because 750 calls maximum, one agent in a day can call 150, but whether all 150 will be connected, no. So 100 calls on a day on a basis you can do it. So if there are 5 agent or 6 agent, then also you can just make 600. So I think and it puts things into perspective. And I think the customers with whom we have been working for, like, let's say 6-7 months, so those customers started with like so like enterprises are skeptical. They don't want to spend too much money inside, they don't want to put too much effort on system integration upfront. So they started with the small pilots and POCs. Okay, I'll give you 3,000 users, how many can you collect? Now the same account in 4-5 months, basically, which started with 3,000 users, now we are calling roughly 2 lakh users a month, daily basis, not month, daily basis. Just 3,000 a month to 2 lakh users a day. So imagine the kind of growth in just 4 or 5 months we have obtained for one customer like that, and we have like more than 30 like that. And it has been more or less common across all these enterprises that we have worked upon. So I think this must be adding value, that otherwise the customers who don't have like shown that much trust in us. And similarly with other AI solutions also, I see there is a major challenge in cost effective, like bringing the ML ops cost down, because the model sizes in AI is like very huge, and to make inferences from those models, you need to have higher instances, basically, and which is costly in nature. So that's why we worked. I mean, it is like fifth year for us. So in the past 4 years, we have been just doing all these things right. I mean, how to like quantize the model so that the model size is brought down from multiple gigabytes to just MBs, like 2 MB, 3 MB. So the inference time is now like in milliseconds, which earlier were like 3 seconds, 4 seconds it used to take. So in dialogue, 3-4 second gap is not appreciated. It has to be instant, right? So how do you make that thing happen? So there are ways to do it, and I think there are a lot of quality startups in the ecosystem right now who know these things, who are working on these things. It's just a matter of finding the right go-to-market use case, and on top of that, how do they build the customer relation and trust. So ultimately, it is for in our case also, if I have to say, largely it has been the customer feedback. So we gave a solution, and then customer asked us, okay, can you do this, can you do that? So if you keep your eyes and ears open and listen to the customer, I think they will guide you home.
I get it. I get it. Completely understand that. So thank you, Vishwanath, for such a great insight. And we would like to give away the word of participation as a token of appreciation, and also
Thank
for
you very much.
joining us in today. So let's
Thank
have the word. So thank you, Mr. Vishwanath Jha, founder CEO of Sati AI, for joining us
Thank
today.
you very much. Thanks,
Thank
Nishant.
you.
Have a great evening. I wish you guys a fantastic evening. And I've been following all the content that happened yesterday and it's happening today also. Fantastic piece of work that you guys have done. Have a great
Thank you.
evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much for
All
your
the best.
support, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So now we have an interesting panel discussion coming up on harnessing the new technologies to disrupt digital lending landscapes. So we are starting in a couple of minutes.